one of my heroes growing up. And number 10, when he went to Transvaal, I started supporting them. Then he came back, he played for Van der Stel, I supported them as well.
That's
Look
glorious.
at you, you're in that Stormers setup and I can see you're petrified.
No, I'm not petrified at all, mate. Like I always say, Stormers by 6, mate.
Okay, Zels, we got quite excited the first time Dave Rennie announced an All Black squad to play in the Nations Championship. He's now finally announced his first match 23 to play the Stormers in Cape Town. It's the first time in 50 years the All Blacks will play a club team in Cape Town. That famous Western Province win, 12-11, Robbie Blair's touchline conversion. One of the great moments for me as a young pup to watch. 12-11, could it be that close on Friday night, 7:10 kickoff at the DHL Stadium. Match 23 announced. What do you make of it?
It's a disgrace, mate. I can't believe he's sent these guys out to the slaughter. Now, obviously, a fantastic All Blacks lineup. Some great guys in there. I see Bowden Barrett at 10, mate. I don't know if his stylist is the guy from Top Gun. Looks a bit like Iceman with that hair. But great to see him back in the mix. 35 years old, a zillion test caps to his name. Adds real firepower to that back line. And Rennie's already said they're going to obviously lean on him to drive the team around the field. So, there's experience across the board there. There's some blokes we're less familiar with. But like the majority of the squad obviously come out of the Super Rugby contenders. And they've had some injuries, mate. No Cody Taylor. That's a bit of an injury loss for them. So Samasoni Takiao, the Tongan, starts at hooker. I love him. Very keen to see him go. And I think it's going to be a cracking match, mate. The All Blacks have picked a 5-3 splits on the bench. The Stormers have got a 6-2. The second half is going to be juicy. And I think the guys that are going to attend in person on Friday night are going to be treated to a great game.
563 caps in the starting 15, 85 in the reserves. 21 of the 23 have played Test rugby and played a lot of Test rugby. Great to see Rico Ione back on the left wing. I think it's his best position. 88 Test caps. Anton Leonard Brown, 90 Test caps. He's in at 12. I know you like him at 12 more than at 13. And Bodie, 140 plus Test caps. Says he's thrilled to be playing against a kid, Yakim Ahmed, who said he was one of his idols growing up. And he says, make sure, I'll talk to him afterwards, but I will try and show him I've still got a bit of pace left in me. But it is, when you look at depth within the New Zealand game, and you look at how well the Hurricanes did in Super Rugby Pacific, Chiefs up until that final when it was a blowout at 60 points to 5. But you don't look at this All Black side and think it's an All Black mix and match 15. It's a dirt tracker side. You look at it and say, that's a side that could go in and play a test match tomorrow. And that's what I love about what he's done with this selection. He's certainly respected the occasion and also put down a marker that they want to start the greatest rivalry tour. They have to start it while in Cape Town. They've got an intense schedule. It's Friday night, the Stormers, Tuesday, the Sharks, Saturday, the Bulls, and then prep into that first test against the Springboks at Ellis Park on the 22nd of August. We've followed Super Rugby, obviously, and followed the Hurricanes outside of Josh Murby, because you've been a big, big fan of his from the outset, whether he plays fullback or he plays wing. Who do you think, and I'm not talking so much the first test, but maybe second and third test, from this grouping, given there's only 7 survivors from the 23 that hammered Ireland, 41-21, only 7 are playing in this game, and only 1 starts, Patrick Tuipulotu at lock, and he's captaining the side. How many have the potential to make a statement to Dave Rennie to say, consider me for the match 23 against the Springboks?
Man, I think the honest answer to that question is 23. Like, I think all of these guys, because Rennie's on such a short runway here with this team, he's looking at everybody, and I think that's part of the depth experiment here, is to give everybody opportunities to shine and kind of change his mind. He's already said he's had to make some changes to the original teams that they've picked. So I think everybody's got a shot to catch his eye, and that's why they're in the squad. And I think there are guys that are sort of ascending players, maybe not very familiar to South Africans, but guys who could potentially break into more regular game time in that All Black setup. I think of a guy like Simon Parker at blindside. Peter Lakai is a nice bloke to have a look at. You've got some of the debutants in the squad, the reserve tight head, Siali Lawaki, I think it is. There's opportunities for everybody. Ratima hasn't been a regular in the All Black squad, and with Cam Roygard there, he's got his work cut out for him. This is a great opportunity. I think the real challenge this weekend is for the tight 5 to step up against the Stormers tight 5 that's pretty solid and that did very well in the URC and obviously has a bit of continuity around that. That's going to be a big challenge. And then for the back 3 to contain a speedy and sort of well-organised and playmaking back three from the Stormers. So it's going to be a great game.
What I think Rennie will enjoy is when you look at the makeup of the Stormers match 23, 14 of the 23 who played against Leinster in the URC semi-final on 70 minutes, 13-11 down, against pretty much the Irish national team in Dublin, all the momentum with them. Unfortunately, Ron Ackerman got the red card, Salman Murat got a yellow card, Gibson Park scored a late try, 20-11. But that game was nip and tuck going into the last quarter. 5 of the pack starts, and Tuna's on the bench as well. So the core of that pack that troubled Leinster will be there. And that's the kind of test that Dave Rennie would want for his All Blacks, as opposed to playing a Stormers 15 and running away with it by 50 points and not really getting that physicality. They keep on speaking about the one thing they know they're going to get in South Africa is a physical contest. And it's a good test for you would say, some of the backup forwards to test themselves against South Africa at the set piece. We talk about the All Blacks, but then you look at the Stormers and you're heavily involved with them. Is this more about the collective for them, or is there that fear that some individuals who have been in the box setup will want to make a point that they should be involved in the Test series? Yeah,
look, I think the best way for them to do that is for the Stormers to play well as a collective and for them to contribute to that. I think their eyes will be on the All Blacks and nothing beyond that. And the two guys that I'm really excited about, aside from the youngster at fly half, is Hachiva Diamani and the kid on the bench, Wandile Mlaba. Those two guys are very unique in terms of the athletic profile they have and the skill set they have. They're tall, rangy athletes, explosive, great lateral agility from both of those two guys. Probably tougher than you would think, like physical in contact. I think those two guys give the Stormers a unique edge in that department. I'm specifically keen to see how the back rows go against each other. You've got Wallace Satiti at 8 versus Evan Roos. You've got Peter Lakai at open side against Dion Fourie, mate. Brunlis is back in action. And then Achieva against Simon Parker. And quite keen to see how those guys go against each other in the various facets of play, whether it's the kicking game, the breakdown, etc. So I think it's going to be really, really good. I don't think the Bok guys are going to kind of redline it to try and prove themselves as individuals. I think they know they just contribute to the team effort, and that's where they're going to get spotted. That's the kind of stuff Rusty likes to see, is do the basics and do it well.
I think this is also going to be a game, 10 past 7 kickoff. It's going to be cold. It won't be ideal playing conditions. Do you think that favours the Stormers' approach, or an All Black side that wants to play with pace, use the width of the field? Who's going to benefit most from the potential not too cool conditions?
Yeah, well, I mean, I suppose the All Blacks have been outspoken about wanting to use the ball and keep the ball and play with the ball. That surface is quite unique in terms of the way it sort of plays. And I think the Stormers obviously have more miles on the clock on that surface. They know it better. So I would say it probably favours the Stormers a little bit in terms of the conditions. But if you look at the experience of that All Black squad and you compare it to the international experience of the Stormers squad, there's a chasm between the two in Test experience. So you'd expect the All Blacks to have enough sort of veteran presence to cope with the conditions.
Now we talk about All Blacks physicality the last couple of years, and lack of physicality, especially in their back five of their scrum, not necessarily the tight five. But you look at what he's picked here, Fabian Holland, Dutchman in every sense, coming back from injury, and Tui Peluto. I mean, those are two big units. And he has said from the outset, Rennie, that every match, they've looked at the opposition, the URC teams, they've analysed their strengths, and they've picked teams, horses for courses. There will be a physical presence just in terms of size that's there. The key is now to see, do they translate that in terms of mentality against the Stormers?
Yeah, and I think, whenever we question the All Blacks' physicality, we're always talking in the context of the Springboks. They're second in the world rankings, mate. When it comes to the other guys out there in world rugby, New Zealand can boss them around with what they've got. The question has been, how does this New Zealand team close the gap physically on a Springbok team that has got more power in their starters and then more depth in that quality? So that's been the key question. We're talking about the All Blacks against what used to be a provincial team, a franchise team now. They're going to have plenty of firepower, and the challenge is really there for the Stormers players. The opportunity is there for them to step up against grizzled Test veterans like Pat Tuipulotu.
And then great to see. I mean, like you've got the Bodie Barretts of the world there, but then you've got the breakthrough player Wallace Atiti, who's come back from injury and a bad concussion as well, and a couple of youngsters in the All Black mix. And then you look at the Dion Faris and the Yakim Ahmeds, two opposite sides of a career. One guy's approaching 40, the other guy's not yet 21. So it is going to be a vintage game. 7 kickoff at the DHL Stadium. We're giving away 5 vouchers, thanks to food lovers, $200 each. You still have another day to go on. Tell us who kicked that conversion, because I'm going to tell you now. There's been plenty of you from the first show. It was Robbie Blair, one of my heroes growing up. And number 10, you know, when he went to Transvaal, I started supporting them. Then he came back, he played for Funestel, I supported them as well. I'd see that game. Funestel 6, 2 penalties, Robbie Blair, 11 points, Victorians.
Wow, mate. Did you actually go watch in person at Funestel?
I just follow that guy everywhere. So, and it's a wonderful reminder, 50 years ago at Newlands, 12-11, they'll be wearing the same blue and white, an extension of Western Province. It's now the Stormers brand. So it's going to be a great occasion. Zels is going to be there in the coach's box. I'm going to be there in the press box. Ollie's got the cheap seats, if you can call them cheap seats. And I know the prices are hellishly expensive. I went and looked at what some of those prices are. But if you can get down there on Friday night, beat the traffic and beat everything, I think it's going to be a fantastic occasion. And the greatest start to this tour and the series is the All Blacks up against the Stormers.
Okay, mate, make your predictions. Who's going to win? What's the score?
Well, I know Macron sponsors us. Someone asked me that in the Adidas store. I said Adidas would be the winner. And then I said, I think the home team will win. And she said, what, the All Blacks? I said, no, not the All Blacks. I've got a sneaking suspicion, and it's just a sneaky suspicion, that the Stormers could win this game.
Of course they could win it.
I think they will win it.
Woof!
And it's going to be the most incredible start to the tour when the Stormers win by 5 points.
Fantastic, mate. That's
Look
glorious.
at you. You're in that Stormers setup, and I can see you're petrified.
No, I'm not petrified at all, mate. Like I always say, Stormers by 6, mate.
No
doubt.
So we agree.
I'm just surprised. I mean, you there in your black and white, mate, obviously supporting the All Blacks. I'm very surprised you picked the Stormers.
I'm actually supporting the Sharks, mate.
Oh!
And the Sharks, on this day, have had a rebrand. They won't just be the Sharkies. They will be the Sharks Rugby Club. If you go onto SA Rugby Magazine, onto our socials, you will see how it looks, all the rebrand. There's various layers of the rebrand. It's corporate, it's the team, various things. But exciting times for the Sharks. JP Peterson, coach, has done reasonably well since he came in very difficult circumstances. Lots of change going on. Not a reliance on the Galacticos anymore. A lot of youngsters, which is exciting, and you love a lot of those youngsters. I'll be up in Durban next week with our good mate Gav Rich and Mike Greenway, getting a greater understanding of what the Sharks want to do, and then watching them play the All Blacks as well on Tuesday. So, yeah, it's always, for me, when we saw the rebrand of the Stormers, saw the Bulls go back to the more traditional blue, their heritage, the Lions as well, and now the Sharks. And I think it's hell of exciting for our game.
No, it's fabulous, mate. I mean, look, South Africa is surging forward into the age of sort of post-amateur and leaning very heavily into professionalism, and this is part of that journey. You know, the more professional teams get commercially, they flex in a different way to what they've done in the past. So 100% behind it. This is the future of rugby. This is the nature of professional sport, and as sad as it is to see some of the sort of milestones and the cherished elements of the years gone by start to fade away, the future is bright.
Jesus, you sounded like David Attenborough there.
I was going for that,
Please
mate.
blaspheme me. The gorillas in the mirror. I'm 100 years
Lesser
old.
spotted shark.
Yeah, this is not a shark, and you're not in the shark tank. But it's going to be exciting, and there's a lot of excitement around the Sharks, JP Peterson, the potential of the URC, and what they can do. And I've always said it, if 4 South African franchises are strong, or clubs are strong in the URC, that's great
Correct.
for the game. If the Cheetahs are there doing their thing, it's great for the game. And it just makes the Springboks even stronger. So shout out to the Sharks and what they're doing, to the owner, Marco Mazzotti. Good times ahead. New beginnings. As I say, Zels, new beginnings. And new beginnings for the Boks as well. Buenos Aires, Argentina. Rassi, not a happy chap this week. Why you keep on asking me about the All Blacks and rugby's greatest rivalry tour? Ask me about Argentina. Ask me about the Pumas. Ask me about a test match. The last time we were here, we lost. And he keeps on reminding people that South Africa don't easily go there and just blow them away. We struggle at times over there because of the physicality, and we're certainly a team that they get up for.
Yeah.
It's like big brother plays little brother.
Yeah. Now, look, Argentina remind us who we are. Argentina are us a couple of years ago. They're culturally and just inherently, they are physical, they're gritty. They are ready to race and challenge you for every square centimeter on that field. That is the nature of them. I think probably playing the European teams who are very sort of technical and probably a little bit like accountants doesn't really bring the best out of Argentina. I think they love to take on the plumbers from South Africa, mate. They love us. And we bring the best out of them, and that makes those games between us and Argentina really, really tough. And I think it's going to be an interesting challenge this week, because we've spent the last couple of seasons learning how to tap dance and be very, very good at that. And I think we're going to have to remember this week how to find the toolbox, get the wrench out, and go stop the leaks. So it's going to be fun.
It's plumber against plumber.
Plumber against plumber, mate.
Listening to the talk that's come out of the box setup, a lot of respect for the Pumas, Rassi and the players saying we play them twice a year traditionally. We know them well. Sometimes we play them 3 times a year. There's a good rapport with the players. A lot of them play together in Europe and in Japan. And Rassi speaking about Philippe Contaponi, what a healthy regard he has for what he's done both as a player and as a coach. I did find it interesting when the question was put to Sasha, does he have to have a stand-up performance? And Rassi interjected and said he doesn't need a stand-up performance. The only thing he needs to control is the way he plays. If he's fit, he's going to the World Cup, as is Pollard, as is Mani Lebong. Those are the 3 fly-offs I've got. So stop the kind of debate. They are going if they're fit. And the only thing these 3 can't control is an injury. And I really enjoyed that kind of narrative of like, stop it with Siya. If he's fit, he's going.
Yeah.
And that's something we've never seen in Springbok rugby pre the Rassi era and the Jacques Nienaber era, is that honesty at a press conference of exactly why they're doing things. And I thought that was great, and great for someone like Sasha as well. And I enjoyed his response when they asked him, what do you think of playing the All Blacks? And he's like, I still need to play Argentina. I haven't played for a couple
That's
of months.
a great response,
And he
mate.
said, and his answer as well, a well-educated young man, he said, not wanting to disrespect your question. So
he's going to be a president one day, mate. Get ready.
yeah, so I'm liking the noises that are coming out there. I just hope that grunt reflects on the field, and a big afternoon for Eben and Lut.
Huge.
Second most capped lock pairing after Victor Matfield and Bakkies Botha. Iconic Bakkies Botha and Victor Matfield. And both want to show they still have a place in the Springbok jersey over the next year. We know their qualities. They're not playing to prove themselves. I think they're playing to show that they, conditioning-wise and fitness-wise, they still have it.
No, I mean, seeing their names on the team sheet together again, it feels like it's been 7 years since that happened. It feels like a very long time ago. So fabulous. Was quite nostalgic to see that team line up. And those are 2 obvious stalwarts of this current Springbok team's massive success, unprecedented in South African history. So huge for the Boks. If those 2 guys can get through this game and come out of it stronger and better equipped for the next one and play through the season and avoid the injuries. And I mean, can you imagine getting to that next World Cup with the 2 of them, Ergia and all the guys that have been lining up in the second row already, Ruan Nokia, etc. We'll be in a great space. So it's very important to South African rugby that those 2 guys make a strong comeback. For them personally, for their confidence, I'm sure it'll be huge as well. And Argentina will be trying to stop that. So let's hope we go all the way on this one.
If you look at the Argentinian performance in the Nations Championship, got hammered by Scotland. Started well against Wales and kind of fell off the pace in the last 20 minutes. Wales started coming back to the game. The same Welsh team that took 43 points against a very different Springbok setup. And then England, awful, non-existent for about 65, 70 minutes, and basically could have snuck it. Come back and drawn the game with a converted 7-pointer in the 82nd minute. Lots of chaos, lots of drama, 7 yellow cards in that game. And the fly-off banned for taking issue with the referee. It was kind of unlike Argentina, but like Argentina. And we've spoken for how many years about the inconsistency of this team. That they can knock over a team one week. Because they've knocked over New Zealand, they've knocked over France, they've knocked over Australia, and they've knocked over South Africa. And then they can go and lose to a Wales the next weekend.
I think with Argentina, their sort of psychology of that Argentinian team is a bit like a shotgun. Like they're very powerful, but they struggle to really point and aim. And I think you see that in games where you think these guys are going to absolutely roll this English team that's travelled, that has, doubts and question marks over it, and then they lose to them. So I think Argentina lacks that sort of sniper scope in their psychology to really be able to evaluate and recognise the opportunity every time they put on that jersey to advance their cause. And I think, like I mentioned earlier, I think South Africa does help them to really laser focus. And that sort of lack of focus, or that lack of emotional intensity and getting up for teams like Wales and England, I think is something that they need to address, because there are some. It's an anomaly, some of those results with them. You just think, how did that happen? But yeah, I'm confident they'll be ready and laser focused this week.
Okay, looking back at the box match 23, the combinations, who's who in the zoo there? What do you want to see?
Oof. Mate, I mean, it's a great lineup. We've spoken about the veterans that are back. Keen to see Siya go, see what Siya does. I mean, it's a star-studded team. You've got options across the park there. I suppose Apaleli Fassi, we're looking for him to have a really strong game. As usual, Edwil van der Merwe, would like to see him get back on the scoreboard, get back to his strike rate. And then it's an interesting centre combination with Andre and Kane there. Not two guys that have played a hell of a lot in recent times. Kanan's been up and down with his form. Andre's missed some time with injury. So you're looking for them to also, get a strong... There's lots of opportunities for the guys in this particular lineup to kind of take a step forward and sort of stake their claim for a more regular spot in the starting lineup.
And Ethan Hooker.
Sure.
Because we know how good Kirtley Arendse is and Cheslin Colby. Cheslin Colby picks himself every day of the week. But Ethan Hooker may be eyeing that one win spot and being competition with Kirtley Arendse for very different playing styles and strengths that they bring.
Yeah.
And we go back to that 43-10 win against New Zealand in Wellington. That counter run from Ethan Hooker was John Kerwin-like in his heyday. He made 60-odd meters, and from that, the box scored a fantastic try. He certainly gives Rassie a back three variation.
Big time.
That when you've got a Kirtley and a Cheslin, it's very similar strike weapons. This guy is special as a rugby player, physically imposing, and still only 22 years old.
No, well, exactly. So, I prefer Ethan in the midfield. I like him at outside centre. But I've been saying that big wings are on the way back. Murby, Fini Anganofo, these guys are moving in the right direction in terms of that trend. And I think having Ethan Hooker around Kane Moody arms the box with options, like you said there, to kind of fight fire with fire. I'm not saying that we need to get rid of Cheslin or Kirtley Arendse. Obviously, two fantastic players, and we've got an abundance of that style of player coming through as well. I'm just saying the way that the game is going and the way New Zealand are kind of taking that game, you may find that you need to have a bigger bookend than we currently have in the setup. So Ethan Hooker playing like he is, I think gives him reps there. I think Kane Moody is definitely a guy who's obviously great under the high ball. We've seen him score some great tries, and he's also a big physical runner. Ethan has got that clutch factor that Kanan has in bursts, but Ethan seems to do it every single time. He's the guy in the pub after 25 beers, you give him a dart, he throws it over his shoulder, bullseye. He's just one of those kind of people. So
he's either Luke Littler.
Exactly. Yeah.
Either Luke Littler, right?
Exactly, mate. So I'm keen to see him go. I mean, I expect that the juice will continue to flow from that guy. Whether his future's on the wing or not, I don't know. Time will tell.
And if you look at the hooker position, because that's the one we constantly go back to and say there's Malcolm Marx, and there's a definite gap between who comes in second, third, and fourth. what is Rassie going to be looking to from the two hooker options?
Yeah, so Jan-Hendrik Wessels for me has massive upside. He's a big physical unit, good with ball in hand, and he's a guy who gets around the park and adds real value, a lot like Zach Porthen. He's just a physical, big human, athletic, really contributes in all facets of play. Technically, Grobbies is a guy who's very, very good in terms of his line-out execution, and he has shown some ability to get in over the ball. But of those two guys, I would say Jan Hendrik is more like Malcolm Marx in that he can be a difference maker. I think the difference is that Malcolm gets it right more often than Jan Hendrik. He probably has a higher error rate / penalty count. And I think that's where Grobbies needs to prove he can also be a difference maker. He's not just the commercial airline pilot. He can also do loops and barrel rolls in the aircraft. He's a guy we can rely on in a tough situation, in a big game, to get in over the ball, force a steal, or make a huge tackle. So I've got no doubt that Grobbies can do the basics very well. It's that X-factor stuff. So I think those are the two things there. Jan Hendrik probably wants to keep his error rate down without diminishing his contribution. And Grobbies probably wants to show a little bit of X-factor. Brian Fenter's another guy who you would think is close to the bubble, given the depth of loose head talent. Gerard Steenekamp, Tux is in the mix, obviously. So he'll want a big game there. I think across the board, there's a couple of guys. Kobus Wiese is another one who will want to stake his claim in the second row when the two veterans come off for a breather. There's opportunities for everybody. BJ Dixon proving that he's not just a flanker, he's also a lock. There's lots at stake for everyone.
And then you look at the media conferences, narrative, the kind of talk. Kobus Wiese, an interesting one. Picked to play against Italy last year, on the bench. Older brother Jasper Bayer gets red carded, crazy red card, should never have been, and they don't play together. Kobus comes and gets picked at number 8 to play Georgia, and by all accounts had a very strong opening. Boom, gone. Not in the mix. Plays for the Bulls in the URC, Basic Champions Cup, grows into form, and is back in the Bok mix. And has been an integral part of the matches in the Nations Championship. And he's put in front of the media and he chats and he says there's no such thing as feeling comfortable, but he feels he knows his role in the Bok setup, which would indicate that he's there to stay.
Oh, mate, he's there to stay. I think he's a lot more central to their plans than people think. So Kobus Wiese, Rusty said it, he's going to come on and call the lineouts. This is a guy who's played 95% of his career, 90% of his career. He played 5 a little bit at the Stormers before he left, and he played 1 or 2 games there, I think, for the Bulls when he first came back. But the rest has been at 4. Rusty's tried him in the back row. He's played in the back row for the Bulls. Now he's calling the lineouts. So he is a lot more central to the plan than I think people realize. And his ability to potentially play 4, 5, 7, and 8, he's probably stamped his ticket already to the next World Cup. That's fabulous.
And the more you hear Rassie talk as well, the more it's no state secret about their World Cup squad. The key is going to be there. How does he reduce 45 players down to 33 or 31? I don't know how many they'll take. But it's not that he's playing games with any of the players. They certainly seem to know their roles, and it's not even as clear-cut as 1, 2, and 3. It's very much opposition dependent on how they want to play and then the managing of game time. And that's probably the thing they've got right more than any other country in the world because of the depth, is that they've managed to balance how many minutes, game time minutes, these guys get.
Yeah, and I think that sounds good on paper. I'm just not convinced that there are variables there, right? There's form, there's injuries, there's tactical tweaks that the Boks make between now and the World Cup where they go, you know what, we've been trying this thing. I think we should kind of move in that direction on this. And there are personnel implications to those kind of changes. So I think everybody does know their role. I think everybody is motivated. I don't think the coaches are playing games with anybody. But there's a long time between now and the kickoff of that World Cup, or at least the naming of that squad. And decisions are going to be made between now and then. This phase of experimentation is going to have to come to a conclusion at some point before the guys get on the plane to go to the World Cup. And then the decisions that are made there about how are we going to play, what are we going to try and do, what is the plan, is going to impact personnel. So as much as I'd like the media to stop asking questions about the fly-offs and is Siya against the World Cup, that's only going to increase with time. And with every game, when Sasha has a blinder, it's going to be, does this mean he's the first choice fly-off? If somebody struggles, it's going to be, is he no longer in the mix? It's just the nature of it. Especially as Russ continues to experiment with selections. We spoke about Kobus playing 8 and then being out the mix. The implication there is he's been dropped. Obviously, he wasn't dropped in hindsight. It was about sort of repositioning him in the squad and giving other guys a go. So I think it is quite a fluid environment, but I think within that, he's given these guys a framework of what he expects.
Okay, I'm going to get to a prediction. But before that, it's game day. It's game day on Friday night, and it's game day on Saturday night. It's Stormers against the All Blacks, opener of rugby's greatest rivalry. It's Springboks against Argentina. Always a battle in Buenos Aires. As you will see, thanks to Food Lovers, you've got so much Biltong and Drouwors here. It is the home of Biltong in South Africa, the only dedicated retailer that just is specifically tuned in to Biltong. And they've given us plenty. And here's a fun fact, Zels. Did you know that every minute that the stores are open, 2 customers in South Africa buy Biltong from Food Lovers, and 1 buys Drouwors?
Wow.
That's the most incredible statistic.
Yeah.
Okay?
Sure, that's volume.
And your premium quality, freshly packed, 349 Rand 99 per kilogram, mate. We've got a hell of a lot of kilograms that comes in every time. But it's a great alignment to have with Food Lovers for the next 2 months. It is rugby season. It's international rugby season all over the world. There's tour games going on. So get your game day snacks. And as we said, get your vouchers. Tell us who kicked the conversion, 76, 12, 11 win. We're going to give it to you. It's Robbie Blair, but just record it and you go into the draw, and we'll announce that on Sunday, because we're going to be filming on Sunday, because Monday's a public holiday, after the Stormers victory and the Bok victory. So we have lots of good things to talk about. And the good news also is people have been asking us, you guys said, give us your details. You go into the draw for 100,000 Rand cash prize. What's happened to that, SA Rugby Magazine? On the eve of the 22nd of August opening test, we will do the big reveal as to who's won the 100,000 Rand cash prize courtesy of SA Rugby Magazine. Follow everything on SA Rugby Magazine's social channels, on our social channels. But before we go, Zels, you've got Stormers by 6, and you have the Boks by, I'm going to ask you now, I've got the Stormers by 5. No disrespect to the All Blacks, but we know who the home team is, and we've got to live in Cape Town, okay? Now, Buenos Aires, give me a score.
36-18, mate. The Boks win it by 18 points, I think it is. I think it'll be a cracking game. Interesting first 20, and then I think the Boks get away from them in the final 20.
So you've got an 18 differential. I have a 38-26 win. Late try for the Pumas. Late try for the Pumas, for those who are maybe putting a flutter on it. But I've got the Boks to win by 12 points. It's normally Boks by 10. I'm going to give them an extra conversion this weekend. Boks by 12, Stormers to win, Sharks rebrand. It's all happening here. Thank you, Food Lovers, for the Biltong.